I've been in Rhode Island my whole life, and I didn't know one black dude in that video. You know something's wrong when you gotta outsource happy black people to be in your video.
What's the deal? My name is Dale Cover. This is the What the Deal Dale podcast. If you're new to the podcast, we come to you every single week with the latest and what's going on. Today is a very special episode because we have the man that is challenging Mayor Elorza for the next mayor of Providence. Mr. Kobi Dennis is in the studio. How you doing, Kobi?
I'm doing all right and pleasure to be here. Thank you guys for having me.
All right, we are glad to have you here. And as always, I'm joined by my co-host,
Anthony A. Dub.
And Liani Perez. I'm not at your service anymore.
All right. So we are live, and let me just make sure the live stream is good.
So now it's live. Yeah, there it is.
All right. Let's see.
It's delayed.
It's a little bit delayed.
Yeah.
It's a little bit delayed, but we good.
Everything's good.
We good,
So
man. We got Kobe in here. We good.
we're live on Facebook. We're live on Instagram. A couple people hit me up. Was like, "Yo, you coming on Instagram?" So we're live on IG for the first time. We usually do Facebook, so we're out there. And if the live stream goes down, you know how Facebook is. The network, my Comcast is not really doing what they're supposed to do. Hint, hint. You'll definitely get the recorded video in HD and all that, so you won't miss what we have here. So if the live stream goes out, we're not going to do anything. We're just going to keep it moving, and you can definitely catch it later. So hopefully it stays up.
Yeah, so it'll be recorded. It'll be recorded. So if you did miss it or you was at work or whatever, it will be recorded. You will be able to see it. You will be able to see what we was doing. So you'll be good. So don't worry about it.
And
You'll be good.
as we're going live, I'm looking at my phone to look for questions. I'm not being rude, but in case questions pop up.
Okay.
Any questions that anybody has?
Yeah, so exactly. So what we did do is we asked for questions ahead of time, and we do have some questions. We'll ask a few of those. So if you do have some questions for Kobe, we want to keep it informal. We like to have fun on this podcast. Like I said, this ain't CNN or Fox News, but we do want to allow Kobe to get his message out, and we do want to be able to answer your questions. So hit Liani up, and if it's a good question, she'll relay it, and we'll get it, man. But yeah. So let's get to it.
Let's get to it, man. Let's get to it, man.
I think the first question really is because the goal is to get you in front of people that you don't know. The people that already know you, they've been rocking with you for the last 20, 30 years, whatever. They already know what you're about. I can see what you're about just from, I can see your profile. I'm like, I know what this guy's about. He's been doing it in the community for years. But can you tell the people that, hopefully the new people that are seeing you for the first time, who you are and what you do?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me and thanks for tuning in. I'm glad everyone is here today. My name is Kobi Dennis, as was said over and over and will continue to be said, K-O-B-I. Not with the E, because
he's not that other Kobe.
No.
Kobe? He's not that other Kobe.
I'm not that other Kobe, and I'm older than he, so I was first. All right. I'm a proud dad and husband, and I've been working in the community in the city of Providence for over 20 years.
Okay.
I'm a military veteran. Happy Veterans Day.
Happy Veterans Day.
I know you're military, all right.
Military veteran. Served in the Gulf War and came back to Providence, and that's when I just hit the ground running. Did a little stint at Rhode Island College, as Dale knows for sure.
And that's where we met.
There was a superstar there. I was just, I was a nobody over there.
Rick.
And
I had really good grades.
He did well, Mama. He did well. So, and then I just continued my work in the community, and what I'm known for is trying to build bridges, a lot of programs, and trying to fill that gap in the community. In doing so, I've been known as a collaborator with the law enforcement, with the housing development, with anything to do with trying to uplift the people. So that's pretty much, a quick synopsis of who Kobe is. And right now, I'm trying to become the next mayor of Providence because I really think I can change things for the better.
Yes.
Awesome, yeah, man. So I read your bio. Obviously, I went through your website and everything, and one of the things you said is how you came to run for the mayor of Providence. The people chose you. That's interesting, and I know it wasn't an easy decision.
No, not at all.
So you feel like you're getting a lot of support from the people that you've been serving for years? Because the reason why I'm asking that question, I think it's going to be a challenge, right? It's always a challenge, and this is really a call to action to you guys. For the people that support you, that they have to step up. Right. So the real question is, how do you think, and who do you think needs to come out? What do you think needs to happen in order for that to come true, for you to be the next mayor of Providence?
So that's a great question, but in order for this, this whole dream to become a reality, is people have to step up. But what the problem is, Dale, is that a lot of the people, the target group that I'm focusing on, which is the 18 to 26, they really haven't been taught how to step up. And that's not a knock on them. That's just they haven't had a reason to want to get out there and vote.
Yes.
I need
So-
to interrupt this,
Yes.
and it's hard to hear, so we have to speak up.
Okay.
And you got a couple
All right.
of shout outs.
Okay. Hard to hear. All right.
Hard
Cool.
to hear.
Keep going.
So I'll definitely talk a little louder. I'm a loud man. So the target group that I am going for, that I am looking to help me win this race, is young people between the ages of 18 and 26.
So when you're dealing with these young, I always like to refer to the younger generation too. When you're dealing with the young generation, whatever, you gotta understand that a lot of these young generations, they want to do some stuff.
Absolutely.
They want to do some stuff, but sometimes they don't have nobody to look up to or stuff like that. So that's why we're glad that you're in here, so you can actually talk to them. Because the younger crowd, sometimes they feel like, you know what, everything's hopeless. You know what I mean? And they don't understand that voting is important, and they don't understand that people like you are in the community to help them out.
Right. So what they feel, as you just said, you hit it right on the head. They feel ignored. Okay.
Yeah.
They feel as though they're not part of the process.
Right.
But when they start to know things like, you have to be 16. When voting really does target young people. You can be 16 to register to vote. How many people knew that?
I didn't know that.
16
I didn't know that either.
years old. You can
16.
register. So you get your 16-year-olds out there register. Now to actually cast a vote, you have to be 18. But what better way to get kids involved in the process than to start them at 16?
Yeah.
To start talking about the democratic process that we all know and love. Okay, so I'm doing that. Today shooting a hip hop video, which, I'm really not into the music that much. But guess what? I'm there. I'll be in the video. I'll turn my hat backwards. I'll do whatever I need to let the young people know that.
You gonna be in a music video?
Oh yeah, it's on. All right. The song's called "Like I'm Kobe."
Like I'm Kobe.
Oh, like I'm Kobe. Shout out to King Cyrus. Yeah.
That was the question I had to ask, because at doing my research, I found out that Alorza, if you look in his office right now, he keeps a nice picture of Wu-Tang
I saw
Clan.
that.
So I'm like, Kobe, you want to reach the young people. How do you plan to get
Please,
jiggy
he don't
with
know
it?
nothing about
Should you?
Wu-Tang. I guarantee you, ask him to name some tracks.
He's like, I'll drop my own music.
Yeah, he don't want that. I'm to Cal all day.
So we have a couple of shout outs, Kobe. We have Mayra Soto Johnson. Hey, Kobe, you
What's
got
up,
this.
Mayra?
Collective Leadership hashtag.
Collective Leadership, Myra. Hope you're feeling better.
And then Danielle Daly Mason. Actually, to raise the volume.
Okay, just text her, see if it's okay.
It says better but not great.
Okay.
Better but not great.
Wait
So that
till
means I
loud.
gotta be a little loud.
Well, yeah, we're gonna keep it as it is.
Yeah.
But you can definitely check the recorded. Everything should be pretty good to go there.
And Mayra Soto said, "You are what we need."
You are what
I
we need.
appreciate that. And collective leadership, Myra alluded to as she saw that, and she's definitely an integral part of the campaign. Her family has been supporting me for a while, and that brings to the Latin vote. Everyone's, oh, Kobe, you have to get to Latino. I don't have to get them, all right? Because I've been there for them all this time. I say all the time, I'm not bilingual, but I speak the language, and the language of helping everyone. So I don't need to speak the dialect, but I speak the language of change.
Yeah.
So everybody can understand that.
Okay.
Right?
You actually.
No, I be on Broad Street.
There you go.
I be on Broad Street, okay? I be on Broad Street. Don't play no games. I done got me a couple plates with the rice and the beans and the meat on the side. I done did that.
And you just answered one of the questions from one of our comments.
Yeah.
So, great job.
No, people
buddy.
are, people keep saying that to me, and I'm not gonna, just come out here and drop a couple of Spanish words and put, a couple of things on my banners, which I have. But that's not the way I help the Spanish population or the Asian population or any other different culture that I'm not accustomed to. I'm going to really show them that I did the work. Ask the kids in my program. All right, I would say probably 90% of the kids that I've helped raise that have families right now, cars, education, so on and so forth, in the military or what have you, doing the good things are Latin folks. But I don't have to brag about that. They're going to come out. They've never had anybody to vote for before. They've never thought it was essential for them to cast a vote. Now they feel that way. Go on, I have 5,000, I maxed out. I got about 1,000 people waiting to get on my Facebook and 5,000 on my personal page. I have about 4 or 5 other pages that are all 3,000 or 4,000 people. We put out a commercial. We did a commercial. We had fun with it. Everyone's like, oh, he hasn't put out a real commercial. Oh, they're talking about that commercial with the drone flying over Rhode Island with water and grass. We know where the ocean stay. How many times do we have to show that?
Yeah.
I wanted to show us, people, regular people having a good time. So that if you look at my commercial, which has over 10,000 views in the last 2 weeks, it's just a bunch of people having a good time.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm going to do.
So you mentioned that that you've done things in the community, and this is before you put in your candidacy. Of all the things that you've done in the community, what was pretty much the one thing that you enjoyed the most that made you feel part of the Providence community? Because you and I, we were talking that I moved out of state and I'll be coming back to Rhode Island.
Right.
And not being in Rhode Island made me appreciate Rhode Island more, seeing the what we have to offer. And I think people within your own state, they don't appreciate, and right? So then you mentioned that you did more in the
Right.
community.
Well,
So
what
I think,
I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm so
okay.
excited to answer that question because
Yeah.
when I moved out and traveled around the world to serve our country, by the way, and that doesn't get mentioned neither in the paper. They
Thank
talk
you.
about everything, but they
Thanks.
still haven't talked about that I'm a veteran. I guess I don't know what it is, but my people know that I served.
Well,
you
that's why
and
we
served
got
you
the
proud.
platform so you can say
That's
what you need
exactly.
to say,
This
brother.
alternative
Let 'em know,
news
hey,
source,
listen,
this
I'm a
is
veteran, I
I'm
don't
a
play
veteran.
no game.
Can we get a little respect here?
right.
So the reason why when you go out of Rhode Island and look back in, you realize we're much more than what these slogans, the cooler and warmer, and showing drone shots of the ocean and what have you. Think about the culture. How many places do you go with Cape Verdean people? And
I was just
Portuguese
gonna
people?
get that. Aren't you of Cape Verdean
Cape
descent?
Verdean, I'm not of Cape Verdean descent.
No.
Everyone thinks that it's the curls sometimes.
I figured I asked because I was like,
No.
I mean, because I know you have family that are.
No, I have family there.
Yeah,
So,
so-
but definitely going out, trying to get people to realize that Rhode Island is much bigger than that. And definitely Providence, for sure. We are a real melting pot.
Yes.
All right? So trying to get that, I know that PCI, that's a Ray Watson group that is really trying to show people all the culture and diversity. Make this a place, a destination. We have Waterfire, that's great.
Yeah.
But there's so much more. And that's some of the things that I'm going to bring out when I become mayor.
Yes, I like that.
Let me ask you a question. This is a question that came from someone.
Sure.
It's the same question I had as well.
Okay.
I'll tell you one of the reasons why as you know, you're in the back cave right now. We figured if you're eligible to get the keys to the city, you can have the keys in the direction to the back cave, right? But the reason why I moved out here
Right.
is because jobs.
Okay.
Like as you said, you met me at Rhode Island College, so I got educated. I furthered my education in Rhode Island, but I still felt it was a challenge to get a job in that city.
Right.
You know what I mean? So which was kind of weird to me. And when I would be in interviews, I could tell, you can't really say what it is, but you know when something's not right. The types of questions, they were more skeptical type of questions as opposed to what can you do. It's more like, oh really? Like, you know what I'm saying? So I moved out. I didn't have to move far. I
Right.
moved to Massachusetts. This is a hop, skip, and a jump.
Right.
So I always had that feeling that jobs in Rhode Island weren't as accessible. And here's a comment from a gentleman here. His name was Faustino Rocha. He said the housing market is booming and established union workers are making $20, $40, $60, $80 an hour, but they seem to be Massachusetts residents. So his question is basically to summarize, how can we get some of that? How can we get some of that training to be able to be eligible for some of that jobs? And I guess that's kind of a two-sided question.
I got it.
I'll let you.
So first of all, thank you, Faustino. Thank you for reaching out. First of all, we need more training programs. We have a few. I can name PCTA and Davies, and which not Davies not necessarily in Providence, but a lot of Providence kids go there.
Yeah.
Tech, but we need more than that. There needs to be after school programs. So one of the things I'm going to do, and I'm going to give you guys a little bit of my platform, which I haven't put out there yet, and I'm sure that's a question. But a little bit of my platform is talking about after school. So in the evenings, opening up the schools to build on the regular education. So have trades, have people from the neighborhood come in that are welders and so on and so forth, come in and teach the kids something different. So when these jobs come available from out of state and we bring people in, these companies will have the people that live here to fill those jobs. That's why we always go outside. That's why most of my friends have lived to move to Mass. All right? Case in point. Or if not Mass, they'll move right out of Providence. Let's just talk city-wise. I would say half of the school, more than half of the school department, more than half of the Providence Police Department, probably half of the firefighters, all live outside of Providence. It's not because they don't love Providence. It's because they feel like you felt, Dale, that there's not enough opportunities. First and foremost, we got to feed our families. Okay, I don't care how much I love this city. If I can't provide shelter and feed my family correctly, adequately, especially with a degree in the love that I have for my city, then I'm moving. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And I don't knock anyone, and I'm going to say this over to the firefighters and police officers and people in the teachers union, so on and so forth, that have moved out the city. I am not mad at you at all. What I'm saying when I'm talking about my residency requirements, which I actually can't uphold because it's against the law, it's been passed, it's through legislation that I can't hold people accountable to live here, to work here. I can't do it. It's against the law. But what I am going to do is encourage people with tax breaks for homes.
Yeah.
You know, encourage people to say, you don't have to know a guy to get a job now. You know, I'm not going to, the current mayor right now interviews every person for a job, whether you're going to be a meter maid or the chief of police. He interviews everyone himself. That, to me, is a little ridiculous. And that's why when they start asking people like you the questions like, who you know and are you with us? You know, one case in point, in, you know, an interview from a very close friend who worked for the city very quickly and then very quickly, because over and over the questions were, are you with us? Are you on the team? You know, it didn't even have anything to do with the job. They wanted to know that he was going to form an alliance or help out or whatever indirectly. They knew they're smart enough not to ask it directly, as you said, but that was the line of questioning. Not really about the skill set, not really about the love for the city. It was more like, I need to know if you're with us. And you know, so I hope I answered your question, but definitely we will have more trade-oriented programs in the city of Providence for sure.
Awesome.
I think that'd be good for the kids. Definitely good for the kids. You know what I mean? Because they get to see, they'll be able to, if you can get that to happen, they'll be able to see people that are in their city that, hey, you know what? Oh, you're a welder? I like welding. Or I thought about it. Because, you know, every kid has dreams and stuff like that too, and they think about stuff. And if you can, you know, bring somebody in that can say, hey, you know what? This is what I do for a living. You know what I mean? If you're interested, you can go that route. You know what I mean? And I think it's very important to bring professionals to show these kids, you know, like, hey, you can do nursing, you can do a whole bunch of stuff, because, you know what I mean, Rhode Island has a lot of stuff. Providence has a lot of stuff.
The thing is, though, they have to see it. If you can't see it and you can't imagine it, you can't do it.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So they have to see an example in some way, you know, especially these young kids. And I think that leads into another question about, there's a lot of, I don't know if it's a lot, but we have violence in the city. When we see one, I mean, it seems like a lot, right? Because it's interesting. For me, it's like 1 degree of separation. It's like it's someone's kid of someone I grew up with. You know what I mean? Or someone's nephew of someone I grew up with. When I see these things, so it seems to me to be a lot.
Right.
But one dead kid is like too many.
It's too many.
So I think that the education is the foundation, because you know people, they feel like they don't have another choice but to hang out and. You know,
I mean, there's so many. You know, this is definitely a huge issue, and it's tough for me to address it because I just left a funeral. I just came from a funeral probably about 3 or 4 days ago. A very close friend of mine, actually one of my best friends, his brother was murdered in the city of Providence. I work alongside of about 5 women that I talk to every day that all lost a child in the city of Providence. I mean, few of them are females. I mean, to gun violence, at that. I can narrow it to that, not just to violence, to gun violence in the city of Providence. So the pressure is on me for sure to come up with some solutions. Have I been thinking heavily about this? Daily. I need to look at the screen when I say that. I've been looking at different initiatives in Chicago, in Baltimore, LA, DC. I've been looking at so many initiatives, reading till my eyes turn red, because I want to do what's best for the city. But it's tough. You know, we put all our eggs in the basket. Right now we have like one area in the city, one organization, and not to knock them, they're doing great, but this one organization, there's approximately 186,000 people in Providence. How are we going to serve the entire city of Providence with one small organization that's practicing nonviolence? It should be in the schools. It should be in the colleges. Why aren't college kids interning at the Institute and Study of Practicing Nonviolence? I don't understand that. We have Brown University, we have Johnson & Wales. We should have those kids there. There should be case studies going on every day. When we talk about law enforcement, it's not law enforcement's fault that we're shooting each other. It's not. It's education, like you said. Is law enforcement low in numbers? Yes. They have approximately about 370 officers. They usually have like 490.
Oh, really?
So it's pretty low.
Yeah.
It's pretty low for the city of Providence. So, you know, all people think I'm anti-police. I'm pro-police. And I'm also not going to blame everything on the police. You know, that's not how it goes. Do we need to work together a little better? Absolutely. But they're not the reason why the people in our neighborhoods, especially that look like us, are shooting and killing each other. It's lack of education, and we need. You go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, so we're getting people flying with great
Awesome.
comments.
That's great.
One thing I wanted to say before we get into it, I'd like one thing that they did with the police in Providence. So they was having basically like 2 police that would walk the beat.
On the beat.
Walk the beat. And I think that was good too, because it lets the police interact with the neighborhood, and the neighborhood gets to interact with them. You know what I mean? And I'm starting to see a lot of, like recently I seen I happened to be at a bar, you know what I mean, with a friend or whatever, and I seen a Latino police officer, and I was like, you know, and the funny part is he was cool. He was just like, these guys all right.
You feel at ease.
I felt at ease because I was just like, you know what, like, you know, like I said, I was at a bar, I had a couple of drinks, whatever, but you know, it wasn't like drunk or anything, but like he just was just like, he goes, you guys okay? Everything was cool.
Wow.
I was like, all right, I'm cool, and this was in Providence, and I just feel like, if you got people of color that's also officers, you know what I'm saying? If you got two cops on the beat that are walking through the neighborhoods and they're talking with the community or whatever, it's a good thing because it's like one hand washes the other. If something's going on, it's like, you know what I mean? And it's not like, well, hey, you know what? Those police are out to get us. If you see the same police officers walking through your neighborhoods, checking stuff up and saying,
hello,
hey, waving to you, you know, checking with the little kids and stuff like that, it's a good thing.
Yeah, knowing people go a long way. Just real quick before your question, I just want to say, because you said that there are a lot of people viewing, please guys, if you guys are viewing this, just hit the share button. That way more people can tune in. That's all. Just hit the share button real quick.
Hit the share button.
If you shall please.
Like,
if you're from Providence, you definitely should be hitting the share button.
Absolutely.
All right, go ahead.
I'm going to come in with a social work attitude, right? Because I grew up here, inner city, grew up in the projects. I know what it's like not to have, and then to have, and then not to have. The thing that you hit it on the nail when you said after school programs. I think what I see what I'm seeing is the fact that the parents do not make enough money, so good jobs have to be provided with good income. Right. If not, they're doing 2 or 3 jobs, which leaving these kids, they're called latchkey kids. They're home, no?
Latchkey
so
kids.
when they're home,
I was one of them.
When they're home, that's the opportunity to maybe mix with the wrong people. That's one side, right? Mm-hmm. And so they're left to kind of fend for themselves. On the other side, we have parents that feel guilty and they overcompensate by giving these kids so much that they don't have that quality to feel like they have to work. They feel entitled. So now you're bringing up these children who feel they're entitled, and they end up being kind of like spoiled brats or being very inappropriate because they feel entitled. Okay. And which shows them disrespecting adults in school. And do you understand? So I think
I understand.
and so seeing that through the years, right? So a lot of people are here. So we've got a couple of things. One, some young fat guy, he said a couple of things. One thing was, he said it's not the mayor's job to interview. That's favoritism. Actually, that was Damon Scott Harold Sr. that said that. It's not the mayor's job to interview. I see it's favoritism in that. Samsung fat guy says our kids need to work on more than just having a good jump shot or making a hot rap song. They need to get a good trade or something.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier. We talked about that earlier. Kobe was basically saying that he wants to get people into these schools like Central. Right across from Central, they have that new.
That's PCTA. Yep, I mentioned that.
Yeah, you just mentioned that, and that's a good thing. You got Davies. I mean, it's not in Providence, but it's a trade school. So maybe going that route. You know what I'm saying? Like going that route as far as exposing the kids to, like if you have an after school program, think about an after school program. Most of the time they have a gym, you know what I mean, and certain stuff where the kids can, play, whatever. But think about if you had an after school program that could say, hey, you know what, let's not just shoot a basketball or just whatever. How about we learn a little trade, or how about if you're interested in anything, maybe if
So they need mentors to look up to.
Exactly, and that's what he was saying. That's what he was saying. He was basically saying, hey, listen, in these after school programs, it just can't be about just sports or just being running around in the gym or whatever. He wants to get programs that are that are going to help the youth, as far as, like you said, people that have a trade and stuff like that. So it's something that I think he's in the right direction with that. I think Kobe's in the right direction with that.
I know Helen Baskerville Dukes.
Yes.
Tell them about Night Vision.
Right. Project Night Vision. So you talked about latchkey kids. I had to explain that about 1,000 times.
Mm-hmm. Explain it again. Explain it again.
I'm going to explain it one more time.
Explain it.
Project Night Vision was formed, and it was based on latchkey kids. So what happened was, many years ago, the state of Rhode Island and many other states followed suit, where young people over the age of 12 were no longer able to attend programs for free. So DHS no longer paid for them. So here we go. There was an influx in crime. There was a spike in crime because statistics show that petty crime, especially in the city of Providence, I'm going to just bring it back to my city. In the city of Providence, petty crimes were on the rise during those years, from ages 12 to 16. Now, this is what was happening. Those kids, those latchkey kids, they don't have anywhere to go. All right, or if they went home, they didn't stay there long. all right? Or if they went home, now that they have this device that's very powerful and they can travel around the world with it. When we were latchkey kids back in my day, and I'm older than this panel for sure, when I was a latchkey kid, I went home and all I had was the TV and a couple of channels, if that, if you were lucky. Now you have a phone, a tablet, computer. You can go around the world and get yourself into a bunch of trouble.
Yes.
Okay? So it's not that safe. So I started Project Night Vision about 7 years ago, served over 6,000 kids through my doors, all for free. No one was paid. All right? We had all volunteers, doctors, lawyers, teachers, mentors, all coming in teaching different things. We didn't just shoot basketball. We did everything from mountain climbing to playing lacrosse, you know, to STEAM programs, science, technology, engineering, art, math. We did it all. And that's what I'm trying to bring back to these programs. They send these kids like you know, herds, and they just put them in these gyms and they just shoot basketball and so on. Everybody doesn't have a wicked jump shot. We can't do that to these kids.
Yeah.
And then we wonder why when they're 14, 15, and 16, they have nowhere to go. Because remember, mom can't pay for all the teenagers. If you got 3 teenage boys right now, there's nowhere for them to go. Unless they can play basketball or football. If they can't do that, there's nowhere for them. They're home on the couch in their rooms right now. And I know a lot of you watching know what I'm talking about. They're just sitting there in their rooms doing whatever.
They watching on the couch.
Idle mind is the devil's workshop. It's a matter of time before they do something foolish. I don't care if you come up in the best Christian home ever, the best home, whatever.
That's a good
you
point.
will get yourself in some trouble if you have an idle mind for too many hours a day.
And then time and again, they've interviewed prisoners that say, like, what made you turn to that life, right? Because sometimes it's desperation, and it's like they had no one to look up to. They had no one to look up to.
Oh yeah, I'm going to take some questions. I know there's probably some tough ones on there. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So
We're ready.
what's another one? Kobe said he ain't scared of y'all.
I'm not scared.
He gonna give you what you need to know.
So Myra,
I'm the worst hype man I
get. So Myra has said, representing the community, you're from.
He said, okay, representing the community, you're from wanting the same fit. Everyone is key here.
Providence is not just
girl,
about
hold up.
290.
So,
Hold up, girl.
we need to step up that
you
education.
You need to don't just ain't slang. All right, you got to do this right. Put commas and all that
So
other
it's
stuff.
not just the Latino community or Capitol Hill. It's about everyone. Kobe
Exactly.
understands that. That's why we need him.
Kobe just basically said that earlier. He said it's not about the Latino vote, all that other stuff. He wants everybody. He wants everybody involved, from the black people, Cape Verdean, Latino, Asian, because there's a big Cambodian community on the West End.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? He's worried about everybody. So you know what I mean? You know, when it comes to Providence, he's concerned about everybody, not just one group of people. He made that clear. So okay, what else was said? What else?
That's it. Basically, and a lot of it's just
Somebody said, "Hey Kobe, you got my vote," and that's from Tyler
Blackmar.
Tyler Blackmar. So that's good.
Thank you, Tyler.
It says here, we need consistent community support. I'm tired of seeing our community jump up screaming when the violence occurs for a couple weeks, when it happens, and go back to everyday life. We have to continue to show these kids we love them and we are there for them daily. I believe Kobe will bring a lot of good programs to our city to get these kids more involved with positive things rather than have nothing to do and find negative situations to grab their attention.
And you notice the common theme, and I want to thank the people out there that,
Yes.
Thinking in common sense ways. The common theme is talking about community and young people. Okay? Those are the people that are ignored during most elections. I want to talk about the basic needs that we all talk about. Shelter, food, and education. All right? If we can't give people those needs on an equitable level, not equality, all right? Equity. That's what it's all about. Because, everybody gets a pair of shoes, as a friend of mine says, but does everybody get a pair of shoes that fit? You know what I'm saying? So we always throw this equity around, equality thing around. Oh, it's equal rights, equal this. No, it's not. All right? Yeah, you're right. There's access to there's houses everywhere, but does everybody have somewhere to live? We're all trying, the things I want to do, bottom line, is try to get people somewhere to live. I want to make sure people are being fed every day. Here we are, and we have one of the biggest hunger problems in the country. And I want to get people educated. And education means, if you're young, it's education. If you're older, it means a job. So those are the things I want to bring back. That's what democracy is all about. You can't get out there and vote if you're hungry. You can't get out there and vote if you don't have somewhere to live. You think you care about an election? You could care less. You're trying to feed your family. Case in point, Dale, people like yourself uprooting and going to another city. People are like, oh, Dale left. I wish you were still in Providence. We need good men like yourself to stay here. But guess what? I can't be mad at you for doing what you had to do.
Yeah, good question.
that
Great,
is
great.
good.
So here's a question too. When you talk about voting and reaching the young people, as I was doing my research to try to catch up on things, I found it challenging. I was trying to figure out, well, when is the election? What's the schedule like? How do you know what I mean? And I still haven't gotten the answer.
Super educated guy. This is what I'm saying, but I mean that, not facetiously. I mean that in a real tone. That everyone doesn't know. What people are asking me how to donate.
Yeah.
People are asking me, Republican, Democrat, what's bipartisanship. But guess what? I'm learning all that too.
Yeah.
And so I'm running for office, but I'm teaching every day. I'm trying to fight for the community, and I'm still trying to fight the fight in my own house. I thought I'd give you a little bit to go on. I got to deal with the 2 daughters. The kid, my son, that's his 3rd year, you're all right. So I'm worried about him every day. I got a daughter. And I get beat up about it. I got a daughter at the Lincoln School for Girls, which is a very expensive school, but they know I'm poor, so I don't pay much. And I have a daughter in Providence Public Schools, which I came out publicly and said that I think they stink. And I still think they stink, and I'll say that purposely.
It's the Providence school system.
Yeah, I'm still going to say that, and I get a lot of flack for that. I'm saying that, people, because I know they can be better.
Yes.
Am I saying my kids are too good to go there? No.
Well, your kids are there.
My daughter's there. They all 3 came up in there. And I came up in there. So all you teachers that are out there that keep saying, Kobi doesn't care about the Providence School Department. I am a product of the Providence School Department. My sister, my mother, my brother. So stop it right there. Because I'm tired of them saying that. I've been hearing it so much on chatter. And I'm glad to come on places like this where I can actually speak freely about it.
So what you're basically saying is he's saying that he's upset with the Providence school system because they can be better. It's kind of like when you're talking to your child and you go, I'm not mad at you, but I'm disappointed because you could be better.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's not a knock on the teachers and the administrators or what have you. It's a knock on all. I'm one of the only people in our community that call our own people out on a regular.
Yeah.
All the time. We can be better with these shootings. Whether it's firing of an administrator, which I'm catching a lot of heat about that. Guess what? They know better. And our people, like they said, it was in an uproar about that, but no one's at the school board meetings.
Right.
You think I'm not saying that? Everything I'd say is not on Facebook. Everything I'd say is not on social media.
Yeah.
I'm in the communities fighting daily. And when I say me, it's collective leadership. Because when I say me, I'm talking about my whole entire team. There's about 50 or 60 of us moving the same way. All right? So I say me just, for sake of argument and keep on naming 20 people. It's my entire team that's been moving the same way. So that's my whole campaign's about collective leadership. I'm going to pull in people that know the different areas. As I just said to you, if I'm going to do a comedy show, which I plan to do very soon, I'm not going to get up there and try to make jokes. I think I'm funny at home. I'm funny. My daughter's age.
Leave that to us, man. Leave that to us. Leave that to the professionals.
There you go. I'm going to call on you guys.
Yeah.
That's what needs to happen. Too many times that doesn't happen in politics, especially in Providence.
Yeah.
We have two questions from Daniel Daly Mason. She doesn't live in Providence. She doesn't work. She does work in Providence, but she doesn't live in Providence. Number one, what is your first priority as mayor that you want to tackle with your administration?
Sure. So it's hard to say that. Everybody keeps asking me, platform. Listen, I could be the average politician and come on here and lie to all of you with a straight face. We've all done that before. We've all lied before with a straight face.
No,
look,
I haven't.
Look, see? He's lying now. This is what I'm talking about.
You're going to get me in trouble, man. You're going to get me in trouble.
I'm not going to do that, okay?
All my girls going to be like, oh, you was lying, huh?
Listen, I want to be the change, okay? So what I'm going to tell you, who was that again? I'm sorry. Danielle, I'm sorry. What I'm going to tell you, Danielle, is that I really can't tell you what I'm going to do until I get in that seat. All right? And when I win, when you help me win, Danielle, I just know that I will do what's best for the community. All right? Know that. It's going to come from the heart. It's going to be for the people. It's going to be for the betterment of our society as a whole. Okay? Because my whole goal is to continue to connect people. Yeah. And you can't do that by lying. I can't come out here and tell you all this stuff. Yeah, I have a platform, and I'm coming out with a 100-page platform, actually 101 pages on January 1st. So you will see it all. But for right now, just know it's all about community.
And the second thing was, what are the 3 most important issues that the city is facing? I know you mentioned housing, education, and jobs, but would you say that those are the 3 most important issues that the city is facing? And
I would put, of course, infrastructure in there. I would put violence. I mean,
that's the challenge.
People can't keep. I I don't know why people want me to tell them what the 3 most important things are to me. They're different from what Danielle, I'm sure she got 3 different ones.
Yeah.
So for me to come out here and tell people what's the 3 most important things, that would be Kobi, the community leader. All right, Kobi, the mayor, needs to listen to the people. Danielle, I'm gonna listen to you, and I'm gonna listen to all the viewers, the thousands of people that are out there. I'm gonna listen to all of you, and that's where my platform will come from. I'm tired of people telling us how to live. If they're telling us how to live, you're doing a bad job.
Yeah.
All right?
And that's the challenge with mayor. There aren't 3 things. There are 50
Bunch of
things, and they're all equally important,
Right.
but you only have so much
Right.
time and energy and money.
So when I say 3 things, Dale, what happened tomorrow, somebody will come on your podcast, well, he should be concentrating on this. He should be concentrating on the budget. He should be I can go on and on. So no offense, Danielle, but I have 3 things, and then tomorrow I'll have 3 more things, and so on and so forth. And I will prioritize as the mayor of the city. I will prioritize. But guess what? Daily I will work on all of those things. So, as I like to call it CSI, community, services, and infrastructure. Remember those 3. Community, services, and infrastructure. That covers everything pretty much.
Great question. Great question.
So what made you decide from community? So thank you for your service from veteran, right? So you grew up in Rhode Island.
Yes.
You become a veteran. You were 20 some odd years in the community, building it up as a community leader. What made you decide I'm going to go become mayor? I want to go for mayor.
Boy, it's tough. The community, I was mulling over it, as they said in the newspaper many times, for years. Just people always coming up to me, calling me the unofficial mayor, so on and so forth. And it never really, got me all excited to be called that. But I always wanted to say, well, what do they mean? What do they think, the job of the mayor entitles? Is it just being everywhere with a suit on? Because that's what the little kids think. They still ask my daughter, is your dad the president? Is your dad the mayor? Because I wear a suit every day. Okay, so then I go to the teenagers. Oh, Mr. Kobi, you should be the mayor. What do you think? I asked them, what do you think that entails? What do you want a job? Like, what do you want? What is it about? And then I go to the adults, which I'm at right now. And this is the toughest part. And when adults started telling me, we need you to be mayor because we need somebody to lead our city in a better direction. And that's what made me start to say, you know what? I think I can do that. And when they realized I said, I think I can do that with the help of them, now people are getting empowered. Now my friends are getting empowered. I have a friend that does theater. Actually, she's on there, Helen. Where are the theater programs at? There's not many. You can't name 5 theater programs in Providence. You might be able to name 1 or 2, but there should be 20 or 30. All right? We talk basketball, Corey Brown League, and things like that. Those should be at the forefront, not in the back, in the shadows. All these programs were created by people just sick and tired of not having programs in the city. So what I'm going to do is bring all that to the forefront. Police and community engagement. Who does that? Name somebody in the city of Providence that engages the police and the community. I want to hear the name. And if it's not my name, it's somebody that's with us. I guarantee you that.
Now, Sam Young's really having a ball here.
Well, she is. Is this a he or a she?
So Sam Young, fat guy. So who? I don't know
he's
who,
a guy. He's a guy. Yeah.
He says, I'm sure Kobi can remember events like Lock-In, where John Hope Settlement House used to send invites to every public school and student in the city of Providence, where they would be locked in the community center for 24 hours and would not be able to go to sleep. What is it? Sleep, and would have nonstop activities all night, Providence, and then breakfast, lunch, and dinner, snacks, and they loved it.
So as he's saying, and he's a guy that grew up in the neighborhood with me, good guy. Shout out to the fellas that are out there watching. And I appreciate this. This right here is community engagement.
Yes.
So I appreciate you guys.
And we're from I'm from Providence. I grew up on the West End.
Who else?
From Providence. So you dealing with people that know.
And you grew up in Pawtucket. That's Providence. I don't get people say sent to my Central Falls people and Pawtucket people. I love you. Nothing but love.
It ain't nothing but 5 minutes away from Providence.
Always trying to connect, and that's another
outer Providence.
And that's another thing I'm going to bring. There you go. I like that. Outer Providence, because I'm going to be the first politician or mayor to bring those cities together. We're going to do things together all the time. Yeah. It's not going to be a Providence thing. You know how many people in Central Falls and Pawtucket resent that Providence? It's always about Providence. A lot of people. And guess what? It's not just with grants. It's just not with policy. It's with everyday stuff. So what did I do with the Midnight League? I made it statewide. What did they do? The city, they brought it right back to Providence. People are not happy. I had it statewide. I had over 500 players. Every night I would drive to Central Falls, Pawtucket, South County. Yep, driving. That's why my car's breaking down now. I drive and check on it and say, how's it going? Oh, Kobi, we love this. Thank you. Thank you. So I want to bring that back. So get ready for that. As far as this question, I know the lock-ins. I was part of them. Myself, my brother still works at the Boys and Girls Club of Providence. We don't have lock-ins anymore because it's all about money. Now, we need staff for that. Before, people would stay over. John Hope. I have plenty of people that were born and raised in the John Hope Settlement House. And we all know that situation. I'm not going to get into that because I was on the front line, fighting for that to stay open as well. So if people do their research, they'll realize I know about everything they're talking about because I was part of that. My name's not always in the forefront because that's not my goal. My goal is to continue to help the community strive. So yes, we will bring all that stuff back.
Wow, bringing it back. Yeah, I remember John Hope. I remember a lot of those things, man.
I remember that too.
That stuff's all gone.
Yeah.
Because it's all about money and it's policy and rules and regulations. The red tape only comes up when you want it to come up.
We're mortgaging our future, man. I mean, you take away from the kids, it seems easy, but when the 10, 20, 25, 30 years go by, you find yourself in the situation that we are now, and these kids don't have any direction.
I mean, just think about it. I worked at the Rhode Island Training School for a stint, about 5 or 6 years teaching cultural diversity and job training, and the kids loved me, and I loved it there. But every day I go in there, I get kind of depressed. And besides the fact that the kids were all black and brown and looked like me, I was not happy. But what really saddened me is that the facility was 10 times better than John Hope, 10 times better than Central. They always had a basketball. They always had pencils and pens. They always had a nice desk. They all shiny floors. All right? You go into the schools now, they're dilapidated. The infrastructure, the ceilings are falling down. Go into the auditorium at, Nathaniel Green or Roger Williams Middle School. Springs coming out of the seats.
Yeah.
Still, for the last 10 years. I got kids that are like, I'm not going to school there. You don't think that's part of their psyche? You go into a place that looks like trash, what do you start to think about yourself?
Yeah. You're
Okay.
like, you know what? Jail might not be a bad idea.
Jail might not be a bad idea.
So they got basketball.
Yeah, I remember I went to Gilbert Stewart when it was elementary school. I mean, it flip flops, but when I was going, it was elementary school, and I gotta say, when I went there, I felt like it was like, you know what I mean, like a dungeon almost, like an old castle.
And that was years ago.
You know what I'm saying? And like I said, it was in elementary years ago.
Wow.
When I used to go in there, the only nicest part about Gilbert Stewart was like when you walked in.
The foyer.
The foyer and everything, like that part was nice, but like the auditorium had like the wood seats, and half of them would be like broken or all chipped up, and the rooms would be kind of crazy. I remember even like going to the lunchroom and you just eating and you just be like, yo, it's just, why does everything I felt like I was in another decade or something. I was like,
everything was
this
hard,
probably was nice
cold.
back in like 1950 or 60 or something, but
Yeah.
at the time I grew up, I'm an 80s baby, so I grew up in the 90s, and I was just like,
Probably had the same books, too.
yeah, like, you know what I mean? It was like, the funny part is, like you guys were saying earlier, I mean, because of things were so bad, and, my pops was like, we got to move to Cranston. We got to move to Cranston because I feel like,
My friend said that daily.
Yeah, so he was like, I feel like you need to move to Cranston so you can learn something, whatever. And, I moved to Cranston when I was like 10 or 11 years old. You know what I mean? And I miss Providence. I felt like I betrayed Providence. You know what I mean? Like, I was just like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't want to leave, but
I want to bring that back. The faith, the excitement about living in Providence. I go other places, my friends are all happy. They walk around with hoodies with their city on it and all that. We don't do that much here. With the exception of a few people moving and shaking, the AS220s, some young fat guy and different guys like that are business owners and things like, yeah, we have some pride. Holographics, there's a lot of local businesses that have a lot of pride in Providence. But the average person, they don't want to claim the town. I want to bring that back. What you just said was so important. We need to move to Cranston so you can learn something.
Yeah.
Did you hear that? Like, that wasn't planned. That's real. People think that. Why do we live next door? Why is Massachusetts like number 1 or 2 in the educational spectrum, and Rhode Island is I don't know where Rhode Island is. It's definitely at the bottom half.
We got good schools here too.
We have great schools and great educators, by the way.
We got some good schools here. We got LaSalle, we got Classical.
We just need more.
You know what I'm saying? But we need more
Central,
of those.
we have Hope, Mount. Those are great schools.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that.
Yeah, my brother, he actually he went to Mount Pleasant.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, you know what I mean? Like, some people, they say, hey, you know, the school, whatever. But my brother,
system.
he went, and the first, like, his senior year, he was able to go to Rick because he just did what he had to do.
Good for him.
So, you know what I mean? And he went to Rick, and he pretty much just jumped right into college, and now he's an accountant. He did his thing, and he was at Mount Pleasant, and he played basketball and everything. So,
I mean, Central Knights.
The path to be successful is there, but I think there's so many obstacles. I kind of look like, let's say you're like in a hotel and there's a bunch of rooms. You know what I'm saying? If you're in a certain environment, you can go into any room and it's going to be a good outcome. But when you grow up in an area like we grew up in, the chances of something bad happening in these rooms are like so great.
They heighten, right.
You see what I'm saying? So we definitely have good schools, and there's definitely a path out there. But so many people will open up a door to something that they didn't expect, and they find themselves, in that circle. And once you get in that cycle, it's very hard to get out.
Primary example, really quick, I'm sorry. Classical is across the street from Central.
Yes.
That's the best example we can give. Why
Right.
is Classical one of the top-rated schools in the country, and Central is probably at the bottom of the spectrum? Tell me that. Explain that to me as a mayor or any politician in this city. If you can explain that to me, then I'll just give up this entire race. No one can explain that to me because it's not right. Okay? And that's been happening since I was at Central in the mid-'80s. All right? So that's the stuff I want to change. There's no reason why, Mass is next to Rhode Island and we have a difference in opinion on education. There's no reason why Classical is next to Central and we have a difference in education. There's no reason why La Salle's 2 blocks from Chad Brown, which is allegedly one of the most notorious housing projects, which they've been telling me for years, which I still don't believe. There's no reason why PC is across the street from Chad Brown, and yet we don't see any of the students over there, or the professors, or the police officers. Why aren't they helping? I'll tell you why. Because we think we have to separate all of this. We need collective leadership. The professors should have to put in hours at Chad Brown. Okay? The Classical teachers should be the same as the Central teachers. La Salle professors or teachers, if you want to work in the city of Providence, you should be helping the surrounding community. Why should you just have to only help the La Salle kids? I don't get that. So that's some of the things that I plan to change.
Yeah, I think that would be great.
Like
because,
that.
like I said, I like LaSalle and all, but I think, like you said, I don't understand why Classical is right next to Central. And for years, don't get me wrong, Central is a lot better than it used to be.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Central had a reputation of being like the worst school to go to in Providence.
All of our schools.
You know what I mean?
It's-
Like people would be like, "Oh, what school you? Oh, I go to Central. Oh, you go to always people. Oh, you go to Cent. Oh, whoa.
With your head down, I go to
Yeah,
Central.
Yeah, I go to Cent.
I want to change that.
Well, I guess looking at the dynamics of why Classical, so looking at the dynamics of everything, of the parent involvement and community involvement, who are the people that are involved in getting the funds in it, 'cause I'm sure funding has to do with it too.
Right.
But we got a couple of
It's all the same city, though.
Tanisha Dennis. Kobe's mayoral campaign is becoming a teachable moment for the community. We are becoming educated about voting rights, registration, and what's going on within local elections. That's from.
Thank you. That's my wife.
And then Lad Dennis, Bad Lad is
Like,
you ain't
definitely
never
have
met no Martin Luther the King. Kobe for mayor hashtag.
I love the comedians
change.
coming in.
Yeah.
Time for change hashtag.
Happy birthday, lad.
It was last birthday, a
birthday.
couple days ago. Ma'am, I definitely, one thing I definitely want to say is, I like that you are really about the community. My father was really about the community. My dad started the West Elma Intruders back in the 70s.
Wow.
My dad, he coached them for many years, and my dad was an excellent coach. A lot of teams from, other, parts of Rhode Island would be like, hey, why don't you work for us? And my dad would be like, no, I think, the inner city kids need it more. So I mean,
Wow.
I grew up, watching him. He coached the West Elm Intruders. He also coached the Pawtucket Crusaders for a little bit.
Wow.
Then he also coached the Southside Saints. You know what I mean?
the Saints.
Yeah, the Southside Saints. He helped with that organization very well. So when I mean, I was at Davy Lopes a lot with him, getting kids. You know what I mean? Like getting kids. Like, hey, sign up for this. Make sure you're doing that. You know what I mean? I would see in the community broken homes. You know what I mean? Like we would drop these kids off, and they'd be like, my mom and dad ain't here, or whatever. My dad wouldn't be there, whatever. And some of these kids would look at my pops and be like, you know what? You're the closest male figure we have in our life. So a lot of us, and like I say, even right now, I got one of my best. I actually played football with him too, and I see him doing this a lot. Is Lorenzo Perry?
Oh, he's doing great with the Cowboys. Shout out to the Cowboys.
With the Cowboys, man. He literally, when I mean he's there every step of the way. He played for the Cowboys. He went to LaSalle.
Right.
He did some college. He came back to the community. He owns a business in the community.
That's
so
a true
these are the
community
type
guy.
of people that, that we want to gravitate, I think, for Providence. You know what I mean? So, like I said, Lorenzo Perry, like I said, he's a good friend of mine. I played football with him. You know what I mean? Like I grew up with him. You know what I mean? I played, against him. I went to Cranston East. We would scrimmage LaSalle. You know what I mean? It was a monster team, goodest team.
That was a great team.
Great team, whatever. But I see him, like I said, I see him on my Facebook page, and you know what I'm saying? Like he owns, his own business, and he's in the community every day, man. He's making sure those kids doing what they got to do, and he's always out there making sure, like, register the kids, get them involved in something. Even after the football season, he got flag football for the springtime, and he's keeping them involved. So I think people like that, and we fail to acknowledge the people that because there's hidden gems in the community that you don't know, but they're doing a lot of stuff for Providence. So. You know what I mean? Like, let's make sure we acknowledge them, because they're doing stuff, and they don't want no recognition or nothing.
Right.
But there are a lot of people in the Providence community that are doing so many great things. So,
well, as I just named, so that's Gameday Fitness, by the way.
Yeah, Gameday Fitness.
And he trains up professional players as well.
Yeah.
Lorenzo Perry. And they just won, shout out to all the Pop Warner, and I don't know if I'm giving the right terminology, but the youth football leagues, because I always get it wrong. Shout out to all of them. A lot of them that made it to the Super Bowl. Some of them will be going to Florida. West Elmwood Intruders, as you alluded to. My uncle used to coach with, my uncle Joseph Dennis used to coach with your dad. Right, back in the day, back in the 70s. And I used to go to the field. I was too afraid to play football. But definitely. So Gameday Fitness, Look Good, Feel Good is another organization. Hood Fitness is another organization. Holographics. I can go on and on. Unified Solutions. All of these organizations that were started with people just sick and tired of being sick and tired. They didn't decide. Lorenzo Perry could go off and coach for a NFL team.
Yeah.
All right.
He's that good.
He's that good. He can coach or play or whatever for an NFL team, but he decided to come back to the neighborhood. And this is not a knock on people that have moved out. Not at all. What it is we have so many of those gems, as you call them, that need to be showcased. That's one of the things I plan to do. I'm going to bring all of these organizations that come up every day and dedicate their time to the community effortlessly. Those guys don't get paid, by the way, neither. No. Pop Warner coaches do not get paid. No, and they are on the field for like 10 hours a Sunday. Yeah. I mean, whew, I go to 1 or 2 games. I'm ready to go home. I'm not going to lie.
No, that's emphasis on sports, but not everyone's sports, right?
No, but
so, like, what I'm saying is, like, it would be great to do something that's, like, art, like you said, theater, right?
Yeah,
so
but we got people like that, too, like Jem. She's constantly in the community.
Jem Barrows.
Jem Barrows. Shout out to Jem Barrows.
So what I'm saying is that just like
paint and chill.
Yeah, she does paint and chill, but she also does stuff with the youth too.
Yes,
well, she does a lot of stuff with the youth, man.
So you're naming people I collaborate with: Jem Barrows, Helen Basketball Dukes that was on there, Inspired by Grace Production. She does theater. She does all the Christian, black plays, like the Tyler Perry type. But it always with a message, and I love it. There's so many people out there in the community that are doing these things, but they don't. They don't get any recognition, and they're really not looking for it, but they need to be at the forefront of helping to raise these kids.
Because they're saving a lot of kids. You don't believe it or not, but they're saving a lot of these kids. Because some of these kids would be, if they wasn't in these programs, they might be out on the streets acting the fool.
It's no might.
They just got to see something. They just got to see something.
I was being positive about it when I said might. But they would be out in the community, acting a fool, doing stuff, tearing stuff up. So, like I said, a lot of these organizations, like with Jem and Lorenzo and a lot of other different people, the Davy Lopes. Yep. You know what I mean? Like I know a lot of people that in Providence, whatever, that help, and they're saving a lot of these people, man. I have people that hit me up and say, Anthony, if it wasn't for your pops, man, I don't know what I would be doing, man. I'm so lucky that I was able to play football. Or now you have people like Jem, you know what I mean? Like she's out here making sure these kids that like to paint and express their artistic side of them.
So art therapy,
sure. So now instead of them being like, hey, you know what, I'm gonna be out in the neighborhood tearing up stuff, vandalism and whatever, they actually have a platform where they can do what they love to do. And I think that is great, man. I think that is great. So people that are out there in the community, that especially in Providence, I thank you, because like I said, I was one of those kids that could have been doing stuff, but my pops, you know what I mean? Like you said, those football games, I remember, man, I done concession stand and getting the jerseys out for the kids. And I was a teenager, I'm like in high school, I'm hitting, Southside Saints, I'm getting the jerseys out for the kids. I'm at the practices, I'm running laps with them and doing all this type of stuff. And it kept me out of trouble, and I felt good to help them. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I gotta say that was one part of my life that I appreciate. So
Cousin Eddie says hi to D.
Yeah.
To me?
It says D. It's Cousin Eddie from Connecticut. Would it be So it's you, or who is that?
What's up, cousin Eddie? I don't know who that is.
What up?
Matt Diamond?
What's
Matt
up?
Diamond?
Okay, what's up, cuz?
We're gonna say what's up.
You forgot my birthday. Send me something.
He said at Team 7. I don't know what these are all
That,
inside things.
this is awkward.
Question for you.
Yes.
Call to action, right? As you know, running a campaign and being successful takes money. The current mayor has a good amount of money, close to $500,000,
Oh,
right?
we're over now. Yeah, he's
Right.
over. I'm watching.
So,
He's like, I got my eyes on the competition.
and one of the things that you said, which I appreciated, you said you running, if anything, is a teaching moment, a learning experience, showing, in essence, people of Providence how it's supposed to be done. And what I took from that is everybody contributing, right? So this is one podcast. We're glad to be able to say, hey, give you a chance to speak to the people. But there's a lot of people out there. They have podcasts. They just have different platforms. They're just doing different things. And I think the people need to step up and help out in any way they can. Not everyone can be what they're not, but they can do what they can do. You know what I'm saying? If you tell jokes, maybe a fundraiser could work. Or if you do whatever, you know what I mean? Whatever it is. What do you need these people to do to help you be successful?
So I appreciate that, and I consider this, which is going to be one of the most important parts of my race, is using these alternative news sources. That's what we call that. That's the term for this type
we're
of
alternative
program.
news right now?
Alternative
We're alternative.
Okay. I'm great. So this is an alternative.
I knew I dressed
news
up today
source.
for a reason.
You got a tie on.
I told you to get dressed.
This is considered an alternative news source. So what we're trying to let you know is that you don't always have to get your news from the direct channel, the Channel Tells, the CNNs, and things like that. There's good people around here trying to do different things. We have to give them all a chance. I haven't turned down anything but my collar, okay? Because we're not going to say, oh, I'm not going on that because it's comedy. I think somebody alluded to that earlier. Why is he on a comedy show? Because these are my people, all right? The community, all right? I'm in Attleboro, but guess what? It doesn't matter. It's Providence. These are my people. They have a connection with Providence. So we have to realize that. You can't just stay in the confines of the city of Providence and think you're going to affect change. Change has no barrier. Okay, so definitely one of the things I'm going to do is continue to teach when it comes to fundraising. Just telling people all the rules, reading over the rules, and then putting them out on Facebook. So many people have learned that you can't donate over $25 unless it's a check only over $25. So up to $25 it can be cash, but over $25, $26 to $1,000 has to be from a check or money order. All right, it has to be from an individual. You can't get a check from a business. You know how many people gave me business checks and I had to give it back? And they're like, what are you doing? This is a $500 check. It can't be from a business. I'm sorry. It has to be from a personal account. Things like that. I mean, I'm very excited already. 40 days in, I felt like I've taught so much. The learning curve for myself has been amazing, and I'm happy about it. Every day, Dale, I've learned something new about this voting process, about this electoral process, about, trying to keep democracy alive and well. It's 10 months out, and I have people in the inner city talking about a race. All right? They may not realize it. Like today, we have the video at Roger Williams Park. Everybody says, we're going to a video. Kobe's giving out hats, T-shirts. Some of them don't realize we're talking about politics.
Yeah.
We're about politics. It's the quote of the year. I ain't down with politics. I ain't into politics. That's my newest. I ain't into politics. Well, I say to people, if you're not into politics, you're telling me indirectly that you're not into your family's well-being. You're not into your kids' future. You can't. I'm not going to say I never said it.
Right.
Because we all sat around, but I ain't into that stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
And change
Sometimes you
the
get
channel or whatever.
frustrated. Sometimes you get frustrated with it.
Right.
Kobe, I was just going to say that. What would you say to a person that says, my vote really doesn't matter? To that people that don't really go out and vote, what would you say to those folks?
And I always say to that all the time, the cliche, if you don't know your history, then you won't know, your future. You have to know your past to know where you're going. And I think a lot of people are not educated enough. And once again, going back to the school systems, we're not teaching that stuff. If we continue to teach, during Black History Month about Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King, one more time, I'm going to throw up. That we can't do that. There's so many things in our history that we should be teaching about. And it's not just Black history. But when I get the minority folks telling me things like, oh, I don't vote, I get a little upset. And it's not just starting the race. I've been voting since I was 18. My mom didn't play that. Why? Because she came up in the 60s. She knows what happened. She was there. So when people say that to me, I get a little upset, but I can't get mad enough to where I turn them off. I say, but listen, young brother or young sister, this is why you have to vote. You say I'm not into politics, but you complain about the schools. What do you think the schools are about? Politics. You say I'm not into politics, but you say you want the roads fixed. How do you think the roads are going to get fixed? Politics. You say I'm not into politics, but you hate the fact that the trash man always comes late. How do you think I'm going to get the trash man to pick up the trash on time? Politics. We have to get involved, people. That's all to it. So back to the original question about finances, it's very tough because it's going to be the Bernie Sanders approach, the $5 and $10. We don't have money. I don't have money. I had to look at the gas tank when I came here today to make sure I had enough to get here. I'm not going to front about any of that. I know we're all struggling, but we have choices. And I'm hoping the choice is to donate to my campaign. And it can be $5, $10. You can go on a weekly allotment. How about $5 a week? I've been pushing that out there. $5 a week if you donate to me for the next 30, 40 weeks. That adds up. That adds up. We need that because that'll show that you're invested in the change. All right? And many times people, my last post, I think a couple of days ago was, I know a lot of you don't feel like you had any reason to invest in a race. I know that because I felt the same way. Actually, I'll be very honest here. I've never donated to a campaign before. So how could I get mad at someone before? But besides the Barack Obama era, I've never felt, and I actually at that time felt my $10 wouldn't do anything. I'm sure, Barack would have felt different at the time. He could have used my $10. And he did all right without it. All right. But I need your $10. I need your $5. Yeah. So you have to be 18 plus to donate once again. It has to be an individual. You can only give up to $1,000 a year. Okay. This calendar year ends at December 31. So by then, I need your $1,000. And then you can start donating again in January 1. Okay, when my platform comes out, hopefully that makes you happy enough to write that check. So it's tough, Dale. It's a teachable moment for our people, and it's not saying we're not educated. We just weren't interested.
So your team's putting some stuff here. KobiForMayor.com donate is a website that was left.
Look, they're on it, man. They're on it.
So we got that, donate money or time.
KobiForMayor.com?
KobiForMayor.com /donate.
Okay.
Instagrams, Kobi
Michelle Dennis said donate money or time because you also need volunteers.
This is my family. They love me, man.
And then Tanisha, hi Dad, baby Kobi, and Sage.
Oh, that's my daughters at home watching.
So. Yeah. So before I want to point out something. I want to point out something that I think is very important right now. If you can tell, if by judging, what he just said is, he basically broke down the rules of donating money or whatever, so you can tell that he's not, some people, he could have easily said, hey, you know what, I'll take that personal check or I'll take that whatever. He's basically telling you, listen, if you donate this, you donate that, there's rules to stuff, so there's he basically wants accountability and nothing illegal. So people that if you want to donate or you're just looking at his character, he's basically telling you, hey, look, I want to make sure things are done right. I want to make sure there's no illegal activity or nothing like that. Me personally, when you just said that, I was just like, yo, that's the most respectful thing. For you to be like, hey, a business gave me a check and I had to look at them and give it back. Oh. Where most people, let's be honest, some people would have been like, I'm gonna take that.
I'll find some way.
I'll find some way to, I'll find a loophole.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I just think that, that when you were saying that in my mind, I was just like, wow. You know what I mean? Like he also, he wants to make sure everything is done the correct way.
And also what he said is he said, not only is it cash, but it's also time, right? So there's a lot of I love the technology, right? There's a lot of other people that have podcasts and a lot of different outlets and different platforms. So you can definitely donate that time. Because what you really need is to get the message out, right? That's what the money is for. The money is to try to help get that message out. Right. So if there may be many other ways besides cash that can help get that message out. Yeah.
And speaking of that money, really, if I can before closing, a lot of people need to realize we're glamorizing all these other politicians that have all this money. So let me break this down to you that they will not say. Governor has a couple of million. Current, the incumbent has over 500,000. Some of the people that are coming out very soon, $50,000, $60,000. Okay, here's some of the rules. You can give that money to a organization, a nonprofit. How many nonprofits out there, and I'd love you to chime in, how many nonprofits have ever received $1,000 donations or thousands of dollar donations from one of these politicians? Please chime in and let me know. I guarantee you it's none of you, okay? Also, you can give the money to another candidate. So when that money piles up, you can give it to another candidate. I wonder if that's been happening.
Wait. So what you're saying is, what we're saying is the people can only donate up to $1,000, but they can donate
they can give.
They could do.
They could give. Please, they could give the current mayor right now with that $500,000. He could give to Look Good, Feel Good. He could give to Gameday Fitness. He can buy the Intruders brand new uniforms. He can do all that with that money. But no, they're all holding that money. That's fine. And these are some of the rules that I didn't know about.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute. The Intruders every year, the Cowboys, they're always wanting to go to Florida because they win. But yet, they're on the corner raising money and all that. If I was a politician and I had all these thousands and all this money that people donated to me from the community, and I see these organizations that help save our kids daily, I think I'd have to give them a little bit of money.
Yeah.
I think I'd have to do that. So, and the reason why I'm putting that out there is not to put pressure on them. Actually, it is putting pressure on them, but actually to let people know where this money goes. It doesn't go to Kobe. Yeah. It doesn't go to my friends or family. That's all illegal. The money can be donated to another campaign. The money can be donated back to the people, or the money can be given back to the city of Providence. It can be given back to the Board of Elections. Okay? So look at your local politicians or state politicians and find out what they did with the money. It's all public information. All right? So these are the things that I'm excited that I'm sharing with the community. You need to learn about this stuff. You need to know, because a lot of times we look at each other and you see me in a suit or with a new car, which you won't see because I don't have a new car, but you see that stuff and you think, oh, that money must be going to them. Well, how come we never question where the money's going from everyone else? All right? It is a good question. Ask. I'm the one telling you it. I don't remember any other politician ever telling me this information. I wonder why.
See, I like that you're bringing a whole new feel to it. You know what I mean? Because to be honest with you, I never knew that. I thought anytime you had like a certain amount of money, it was just for campaigning, to get your name out, whatever. I didn't know you could donate.
Anytime.
Like if you have, if you think about it, if you have $500,000, you know what I mean? You could take 1,000 here, 1,000 there, 1,000 here, small, boom, boom, done. It ain't nothing to do all that.
Nothing.
You know what I mean?
Simple stroke of a pen.
Yeah.
So where's the allegiance? Who really cares? That's what I'm going to show over this next month. Who really cares? Because the money I raise, which not much, we have some thousands in the bank right now, thanks to the people out there that are giving the 5 and 10s and 20s. And some of you have been hustling to try to get some money up to. I know income tax is coming. I'll keep it real. So I'm going to let you guys know that it has to be a great gift, to give back. It's an investment. All right. It's like
future,
as Dale said, mortgage in the future. I love that. I'm gonna use that. Can I get a shirt?
That's my donation,
right.
brother. That's my donation. Speaking of shirt, man, yeah, we got something for you, brother. We got something for you. We want to present you with our, you know what I'm saying?
All right.
Yes, sir.
And let the people. I'm not that cheap neither, Dale.
Let them see what it say.
See that? But I bought them some shirts. I bought some shirts for
live,
for
love,
the crew.
laugh every minute, every moment,
Let's
every
go.
day. That's what we need to do, people.
Yes.
That's what
Let's
we
go.
do as comedians. That's what
Appreciate
what I'm saying. We always trying to push that message and live by that.
Thank
So wear it.
I'm gonna wear it with pride.
Yeah, that's it, man.
I appreciate you.
Archie Johnson invite people to come to Roger Williams
Appreciate
for the
you.
music
Yeah,
video.
definitely.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. That's today.
Yeah, and
So you're gonna be shooting a music video at Roger Williams Park today?
At the Temple of Music.
At the Temple of Music.
at
2 p.m.
2:30.
2 p.m.
Yep.
So what time is it right now?
It's about 1 maybe, because we started about 12,
So
right?
there, he's I guess invited. So the public is welcome.
The public's welcome. We just want it's one scene,
guys.
man. And you guys can come down and we're just gonna.
Let's wear our
the
shirts.
song
Let's
is like I'm Kobe. Come on, a little bit of I get to
I'm a
show some old
non-dancing.
moves. I can't dance
That's
neither.
cool.
I'm just gonna walk and do the two-step.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
Awesome.
No, I appreciate you guys having me on. As I said, I consider you guys, yes, comedy and all of you definitely funny, but this is an alternative news source, just like doing this video. It's a way to reach the people.
Who said why is he going on a comedy show? Who
I
said
thought I
that?
heard you reading something like that earlier.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Gonna say we're more than that.
We're more than
just-
comedy. We're about the community. If
That's
you've
right.
watched us for this past year, we do the food review. We try to build up our communities because after Number 45 became who he is today, we decided, you know what, we have to take our own, because we knew he's not for the people. We knew he's for the 1%. So we decided as a team that we need to bring up our communities, and that's why we're out there all summer.
Yeah. You guys.
Because that's
Black
how
restaurants, Spanish-owned restaurants, and then we do
Build
the
each
comedy
other
thing.
up.
We build each other up, man.
That's what
but
it's about.
See how before we get up out of here, I just got to say this, man. You from Providence, you from the South Side, I'm from the West End. There's one thing I got to tell you I miss about Providence. Tony's Market, why'd you close? Tony's Market, why'd you do that? man.
Because there was probably no support.
We love
There was
Tony
probably
Mark.
no support.
Man, I'm
What
telling
about
you.
Benny's?
Huh?
What about Benny's?
Benny,
man?
listen,
No support. Why?
Benny's
Because the
hurts.
conglomerates
Benny's
are
hurt.
sucking
Benny
on
hurt
energy.
me. Benny's hurt me a lot because I like to go there for I call them awkward inner
Just
outer
anything.
things. You know what I mean? Like if you need like spark plugs in a
Snicker.
something, they got it there. You know what I'm saying? Like you can get oil and a Coke and you won't even feel bad. You know they're like a.
So Susan said it's a laundromat now.
Yeah, Tony's Market. I miss you, man. They made the best grinders. I don't even know where to go no more now.
Archie Johnson, I love the show.
Archie, we love you too. We love you too.
Michelle Dennis, can I get one of those? I'm assuming the black t-shirt.
She always wants something. You ain't no,
And
Michelle,
then-
no.
Who's Michelle? That's your wife?
This Michelle.
And then
You
tell
gotta
them,
who your family is.
Kobe, the people need to know is what she
Well, I appreciate the people out. Thanks everybody for watching and listening, and I'll be back. I'm inviting myself.
Oh, you're
Okay.
I'll be back.
You're always welcome,
We
brother.
get closer, and
This is
He said he's inviting himself. I like
you're
that.
always
just
welcome.
I mean,
I was gonna ask
the
him,
next
from
one's
home, I
when's
really
Kobe
hope
coming back? When's
because
Kobe
there's so
coming
much
back?
more that in my mind, like as we're sitting here and
for
we
sure.
have time is of constraint, but maybe after we'll talk about this and then decide on what
After
to
the
do.
platform. How about after the
because you're
platform?
gonna- yeah, exactly.
After the platform, and then maybe bringing it out to the community so that we can, like we did
Oh,
at 10
we should do it
Rocks,
on-
doing
oof.
this live with a live audience.
Man,
Wouldn't that be fun?
people would love that.
Yeah,
I know
We
they-
all think.
I think this is like the introduction.
Yes.
And I
This is
think
just an intro
when
of
he
the
gets
future.
where he needs to be, we're just gonna come out right to the community and do it again.
Sounds
And
great.
he
know what I
bites, so watch out now.
Huh?
I said you bite, watch out.
Yeah, and y'all better find somebody like Tony's Mock and give me a damn grinder. All right, what's the closest thing in Providence, man? I'm still hurt.
Shyboro says, have a blessed day. And Rebecca Jackson, hey Kobe from North Carolina.
No, you better not.
So North,
you better not do it.
North
Then people will
Carolina's chiming
think- I
in. That's
think
awesome.
Maybe politically wise, I don't want to do that and let people think. I don't want no other politicians not want to come on the show. So I'm going to present my shirt. I gave these guys some
Hold
shirts.
up, hold up. Let's see what you gave us, brother.
I
wanna
gave
see
you
what
guys
got.
some shirts, but I don't know, Dale, is it all right? What do you think?
Yeah, I want to see him. What's good? Hold up before let's see what we got, man.
Let's not scare away other guests. I don't want people.
So
Hey,
Oh yeah.
North Carolina's chiming in.
I see what he's saying. Let's say this. I personally don't have a horse in this race. Although I do care about the people of Providence. I grew up in Providence, so I want to see Providence do well. But Elorza, if you want to come on the show and part with some of that $500,000, no, but you're more than welcome.
Okay.
Because but I'm just kidding. But you're more than welcome because at the end of the day, it's really about making sure that the people are able to make the best decision for themselves, right? It's all about you guys. So
These are
yeah,
the
so
kids anyway.
so
Yeah,
we
these are
appreciate
the-
the shirt.
These
I
are
need
the
a
kids,
kid-
but the shirts are for you guys. Yeah, those are
Appreciate the
great.
shirt.
Kids edition for the hats. The first 50 kids will get free hats today at the video shoot.
Okay.
And the t-shirts are for the adults as well.
Oh,
So
okay, hold up.
know,
What
these
size
are
is this? What size? All right, cool. What size is that? What size is that? Let me see. Oh man, he got mediums. He got
Come on,
whole.
man. I
He
think you
got
have to show
he
your
got a whole
muscles.
bunch of stuff. But if you check everything out, man, he got. Look at that. That's a nice
This
T-shirt.
is really
man.
nice.
That's really nice, man. You know what I like about it? Got that star in the middle.
You see that?
They got
Yeah,
that
it's like
star in the
Puerto
middle.
Rico.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah, I know. All my Puerto Rican friends out there like,
I was about to say. They got a little. Hold up.
Even the
I can
cup-
smell this song. I was like, I can.
He's gonna get in trouble for that.
Listen,
So
you know
actually,
I might
so I'm
listen.
going
You
to
know I
DC.
love
I'm
Puerto
going
Rican
to
people.
I've
You
never
better
been
stop
to DC in
playing.
my life.
Oh wow.
So next week I'm going to a summit all day on Saturday about diaspora about Puerto Rico, and then
Okay.
Sunday we're marching.
All right.
All right.
Excited.
Well, actually the Kobe friends of Kobe. We're supporting the Puerto Rican relief efforts. So we have plenty of supplies, and we've been giving them out to the community, and we'll continue to give them out.
Thank you
And
so
also,
much. That means a lot.
yeah, we're just gonna be a part of a little bit of everything. That's
Yeah,
all.
man.
So I appreciate you guys.
All right.
All right, guys. Well, that wraps it up.
2018.
Kobe 2018. This was another episode of the What the Deal Dale podcast. This is what we do. We do every week. Like we said, we're just getting bigger and better every time. So,
man.
you know what I'm saying? It's all about ideas. We just want to make something happen. So if you haven't done so already, go ahead and join the What the Deal Dale Facebook page. That way, when you see another episode, you'll get an alert.
Yeah. And don't forget to donate to Kobe, man. If you're in Providence, donate to him. Like he said, 5, 10, 15, even an awkward number like $17.38. Do what you gotta do.
KobeForMayor.com
And you-
/donate.
And you don't have to be from Providence to donate.
Okay.
All around,
Really?
You don't have to be from
Wow.
Providence.
all around the world, we'll take
Okay.
donations from.
All around the
Well, North
world.
Carolina chimed in, so hey, what's up, North
I
Carolina?
appreciate it.
Yeah, man, and I gotta say, it's good to see a black man. You know what I'm saying? He's a black man. You know what I'm saying? I'm excited about that, man. You know what I mean? I'm excited. I'm sorry. I like it. I like that.
I mean, don't get it twisted. We don't just vote for any black dude. We didn't vote for Al Sharpton.
You know what I'm saying?
You gotta be a qualified
Jesse
black
Jackson,
man.
I was not. I was, yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying?
Obama was special. Don't get it twisted.
But hey, we might have an Obama of Providence. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel.
Kobe.
So,
I like the name Kobe. The little kids are gonna be like doing like real good stuff in the community, like give a homeless person a drink. Kobe. You know what I'm saying? Here you go, my man.
Like I'm Kobe, the track,
I like
the release, world premiere release today. Like I'm Kobe.
Instead of like Mike, it's like Kobe.
Like Kobe.
That's awesome.
All right, y'all. We're gonna get out of here. It's too much fun, but you know what?
Much fun.
All right, y'all.
Appreciate it.
All right.
wow, that was good, man.
Don't incriminate yourself till I turn off the camera.